Today's episode is a first. It's our very first family episode where we have a gapper and both parents on board for a conversation. This is one of my favorite stories when it comes to transformations, not only for our gapper Pranav, but for his parents as well. Going from very skeptical and frightened to being the most supportive folks on the planet. Welcome to the Gap Year Podcast, where we explore the who, what, where, when, and why of gap years. It's real people sharing their stories, ideas, and experts diving deep into how you can make the right decisions in order to have a meaningful gap year. This is the place to be no matter where you are on your gap year journey. I'm Michelle Dittmer, your resident gap year expert. Let's jump right in. Hey there, and welcome to the Gap Year Podcast. My name is Michelle Dittmer, and I am your host and Gap Year expert. Today, we have a Gap Year Podcast first. We have an entire family here, a Gap Year family coming to join us on our episode today to talk about their experience with having their son head out on a gap year. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, wonderful. Well, let's start with our gapper, our feature gapper here. So this is Pranav. Pranav took his gap year over a year ago now. So why don't you give us a little bit of insight into what have you been doing since your gap year? And then let's rewind and give us a short little blurb on what you did during your gap time.
Sure, yeah. So since my gap year, I've been in university for a year, like UVic, which has been pretty cool, like a good transition. Because I feel like before my gap year, I wasn't like prepared, but I think the skills I gained during my gap year helped me like become the person that I am, like ready for university. Yeah.
And what did you do on your gap year?
So on my gap year, I did like a bunch of things. So I like volunteered a bit around my community, and I think the main thing I did was like a travel. So for like about 3 or 4 months, I was in Asia, and for like a bit, I was with my parents, and then I went on my own to like Thailand and Japan and Malaysia, Singapore, just around. Yeah, I also did a bunch of local trips, like explored my community, and yeah, it was a great year.
I think it's so understated, all of the things that you did.
Yeah.
It sums up in a nice little list, but I think there's so much more, and we're going to get into some of the ways that you grew over the course of the year. And I had the privilege of meeting you and your parents before your gap year started.
Yeah.
So maybe mom and dad, do you want to say a little bit of a hello and give us some context as to why you wanted to come on this podcast? What was it that happened during your experience that you want to share?
Yeah, so I'm Pooja, I'm Pranav's mom. And when Pranav talked about gap year, almost 2 years back, and he was already accepted in a few good universities, I really freaked out. And I was like, no way, you cannot do that.
Yeah.
I was thinking he's going to, fall off the whole thing of studying, and he
Mhm.
was not prepared to travel alone. And and of course, like as a parent, I was like, will the university give him the extension for the admission? I was like very, very scared, and I just said, you cannot travel, you can only travel with us.
Yeah.
So, and we were just Googling things about support for gap year when he started talking about it. And we are so lucky that we found you.
Yes, I think she has mostly addressed most of the things. So, hi, I'm Ashu. I'm Pranav's dad, and so I was quite in support with the gap year right from the beginning. I feel it's quite important for children to take some time off from what they're doing, just to reflect where they are going. Otherwise, it just becomes, a kind of a meaningless exercise where you're chasing one goal after the other without getting a proper break to understand who you are, what do you want to do in life, and where do you want to go. And so these are not just intellectual, questions. They are intellectual in part, but also they are much deeper because it's a part of you as a person. So what do you want to be as a human being? That is one part of the question. The second part is we have seen him grow. So from a very dependent child, very shy child, we have seen him grow to a person, and he's still growing. It's a process which is on, right? But he's become quite independent. To think about it, like a child who has not even gone to, a downtown Vancouver, from where we live, to travel all over the world and different parts of Asia and be independent, be able to organize. It was real life skill experiences that he gained, and he did it wonderfully, like, beautifully. He did have challenges, but he did it amazing. He did an amazing job. And due to that, he gained a lot of confidence as well.
Yeah, I have seen such tremendous growth in all three of you, quite frankly, in the process, because gap years are a family decision. They are a family experience. It's not done in isolation. And I remember very vividly the first call. There may have been some tears that were shed, and there was a lot of fear, and a lot of uncertainty, and the transformation that I saw over the course of our time together in terms of understanding how to navigate this transition from adolescence to young adults, and how to be parents of a young adult, and Pranav, how to show your parents that you are making that transition. I think that was one of my favorite parts, because you came out like, I am heading to Thailand, see you later. And we kind of said, whoa, slow down. We'll get you there, but you need to get some skills, and you need to prove to your parents that you have those skills so that they can trust that you are going to be okay. And I think that was just such a beautiful thing to witness, that everybody went on that journey together.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. And one thing I would like to add is, like, he was quite responsible all throughout the trip. So it wasn't that he went to Thailand or Japan, just to party, because these are like some of these countries, like they have a lot of nightlife and a party life, right? But he was very responsible, and he chose places where he could learn about the culture of those places. He could understand, the flora, fauna, the people, and relate with them. So it was a very different kind of a travel, you know. So yeah, that is something I thought like I should mention.
Yeah.
And I think Pranav has always been, interested in the world, and he used to do his own like research, and he was always like a little bit bored at school on for what they were talking about, and so he used to study about the world and different countries, and do all these things, especially during the pandemic. Like he got to explore a lot of that, and that is when he got a good bike, and he started biking, because the pandemic we couldn't meet so many people, and that was a good way for him to connect to the outdoors. And I think his experience in the outdoor academy in grade 8, 9, and 10 took him to a lot of different places, and all that like made him really be passionate about being outdoors and exploring, and kind of prepared him a little bit. But as a parent, I was like, that was a good experience. You can't go alone. And you really helped to break it down and to kind of slow him down and speed us up.
We got to meet in the middle.
And do like trip to the Vancouver Island. And then the second trip was to San Francisco alone for a week. And then, we all went together to India, and then he took off from there. And when he went, I had that thing like, you can come home anytime, buy a ticket, any price and you can come home. You don't have to like go with your whole plan. And that is what happened. Like he would plan things maybe a week in advance, like this is what I'm doing next, this is what I'm doing next. And of course, there were some challenges and we got really scared at times, but somehow, touch wood, it worked out okay.
Right.
And
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
came
and
home safe.
right, like nothing out of the ordinary. So nothing very, very fearful, the kind of things that you would imagine. Some usual things, smaller things about tickets or about rental things, those kind of things. Yeah, nothing really big, nothing
Yeah.
scary. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
mention that so that,
Yeah.
the other parents who are interested, they shouldn't feel like, this is a dangerous expedition, right? It's quite
Definitely.
safe. If
Yeah.
you plan it out well, and you choose the places which are proper, yeah, it is something which is doable and it's quite safe. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
And I think he was also very frugal. Like,
Yeah.
although, he found deals that were good, he found hostels that were, not too expensive. And sometimes I used to say, it's okay, you can go and have a good lunch, today, enjoy your meal or have something warm. You don't always have to have something quick. So, he was very responsible in that manner as well.
And that is a skill that he learned. And still, so whenever we have to plan a vacation or go anywhere, he is the one who takes the charge, right? So he finds out the very good deals for hotel, for flights, where do we want to go? He plans it out. Not just vacation, but other, other outings as well. So,
Yeah.
right. And one more thing that I would like to add is also that this travel kind of helped him also understand his discipline, because we knew at the end of grade 12 he was not ready to go to the college. He was saying that we were not listening because we had our own anxiety. The parents, they come with their own preconceptions about things, right? So they really do, and this is something which is not acceptable so much, right? It's nowadays, I think it's becoming a more of a trend, but earlier on, like when he did it, it was not something which was very known, right?
Yeah, in Canada.
So this kind of helped him, this whole travel helped him also to decide what kind of vocation or discipline that he would like to take. And he's kind of moving in that direction. Um, and it has helped because he likes to understand the people, the culture, the geography. So he's doing geography and human development, which is a study about the human beings, the culture, and also about the development.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to talk
want to
about
say
your
something?
major a little bit?
Sure, yeah. So I'm majoring in geography right now, which in part during my gap year because I had so much experience like doing that, just like having my time to like research and like decide what I wanted to do in life. Obviously, since right out of high school, like everyone's just doing the same path, you didn't know anything. But yeah, the gap year definitely helped me like decide what I want to do in college.
Yeah.
Traveling.
And what does it feel like to have your parents say and notice all of these things about you? What does that feel like, knowing how far you've come?
Yeah, it feels great because like I remember the start, like they were like pretty like scared and stuff. They were like, "Oh my God, you can't do this," because I just wanted to like get out, like because of COVID I was in. I just need to like get out, travel, do things. But yeah, they were at first like super interested. Just it's just amazing to see, yeah, how much they realized about gap years. And yeah,
Yeah, and I think for him, grade 10, 11, 12 was really stressful because of COVID, and half of the courses are online. And even if you're in class, you were wearing masks. There was, semester courses, there was quarter courses, and everybody in the school, like teachers were stressed, like everything was like, of course, not normal
Toxic
yeah,
for anybody. And and I think the gap year kind of helped him. And initially, I would say that when I used to tell friends, or if somebody asked me, what is Pranav doing? And they will be like, gap year, why are you doing? Why are you giving him permission to do this? And, all that. And that would actually increase my anxiety. I was very affected by that, and not them. Like Pranav and Ashu were pretty okay with that. And then later on, I was so proud to tell them, that, he has done so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the people who appreciate it. So initially, the people who were skeptical about it, they started understanding and seeing the validity and the benefits of the gap year as
Yeah.
well. So not everybody, most of the people that we hang around with are friends. For them, this is a new idea, right? But still, I could see that they thought like this was something which was very interesting.
Yeah, something different.
Yeah.
And we have actually told some people that were more interested and they had young children about your program, and like how supportive you are, and it is good to have that person to go to.
Mhm.
And although it would have been nice if there were some more people around this area who were doing the gap year for Pranav to talk about it. But at least you had those monthly meetings with him,
Yeah,
and other group meetings, which was very helpful.
definitely.
Yeah, I think you touched on something really important, is the impact of parents' peers
Yeah.
on everything. There's a real pressure to have a trophy son or daughter that is excelling and doing all of the things, checking all the boxes,
Yeah.
and to be going against the grain. Takes a lot
Right.
of courage as parents to be able to say what's happening, especially at the beginning when there's lots of uncertainty. And I really applaud parents who have to stand up to their peers, or even the grandparents, the parents, sometimes they don't understand, and being able to actually listen to your young person when they're saying, I need a break, I need to do something different for a while, and listen to them and give them that space despite the outside noise. Is very difficult to do, but in the end, you can kind of look back at those people and say, see, look at my kid, look at what they're doing now, look at how much they've grown. And I think that that's just such a beautiful thing. And I'm so glad that you're sharing your story for other people who are at the beginning of their journey, looking forward and going, oh no, this is too scary. You guys are proof, you guys are living proof as a family that it can be very, very worthwhile.
It's worthwhile mentioning, like without you, there wouldn't have been a gap year, right? Well, he would have still done it because he was quite persistent. So that's one quality about him. If he makes up his mind about something, he may try everything, but he will go through with it, right? So he would have still done it, but because of you and your support, it really helped us a lot, right? There wouldn't have been a gap year as we know it without your presence, without your help and support.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I really appreciate that. I think lots of people think they can do it on their own. And they try, but having somebody on your side, somebody on your team who can help you with the decisions, big and small, who can help you navigate the conflicts that come up. There is so much value in that. And that's really what we want to do at CanGap. We want to make your lives easier. We want Pranav's gap year to be the best gap year that could possibly happen. And we want the parents to feel comfortable with what's going on. And so that's why we create all the resources we do. That's why we offer all of these conversations with families. And so more people should take advantage of that. And don't be shy to book a call with us. Don't be shy to ask us the questions, because really that's what we're here for. And you guys are just reinforcing that with your testimony and your story here.
Yeah.
So if you had to give any advice to people in your situation, so if you think back to yourself leading up to your gap year, and leading up to your son's gap year, what is a piece of wisdom that you would like to pass on? So I'll ask each of you to share one thing.
Should I start? Okay.
Yeah.
Just like be persistent, like have plans and like go through with them. Don't like think about like a bunch of different things and like end up like just staying home. Like actually go out and like yeah, just do like whatever you had planned. That would be a great advice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. I think it's
Uh-huh.
really important that you do. There's a lot of analysis paralysis. There's so many options and so many
Yeah.
possibilities.
Yeah.
And you were very good at making a decision and then executing it and not humming and hawing and waiting and watching your gap time just fly by. You
Yeah.
were really in charge, and making the most of every moment. And that's what I hope for all gappers to experience. So I think those are really, really wise words.
So plan it out, because there is a tendency in all of us to get lost. There's no harm in getting lost if you're exploring. Sometimes it's okay with that, right? Because when we explore, we get lost, and that's how you find new places. That opens up new horizon for humanity. So but see, we can also kind of get caught in a cycle where we are just doing gaming, staying at home, doing nothing else, and that's a bit of a danger. So I would suggest plan it out, do things which you really want to do, are passionate about. Of course, have some idyllic time as well. We need to have a balance of both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we need to be a little, aware and careful about that we are engaged well, and which, fortunately, that didn't happen in our case, because he took the initiative and he did what he wanted to do.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
and yeah, I would kind of say something similar, that it's good to have like a flexible plan in place, and also, be responsible. So if your parents are trusting you, then you have to make sure that you are responsible in choosing how you use your freedom. That is something that is important, because there are lots of things out there that can lead to other things. So it's good. It's really important to keep in touch. Like Pranav spoke to us every single day, and he made sure that he got the eSIM. He did the research how he can be in touch, and we were in touch every single day. And he would send us pictures, and so that is very important for parents, to have that constant contact,
Hmm.
to make sure that things are going on okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to say something?
I know you can go.
Yeah. So he had a flexible kind of a schedule. So although he had a general overview where he was going to be, but when he was within the country, he had a very flexible kind of a plan. So in that, he was quite dynamic and be able to plan it out, right? And so of course, back and forth going with our parents and constantly talking to us, that also kind of helped. So that is one thing. And the other thing is also for parents to have that relationship, because I feel relationship is pivotal. Relationship with you and the relationship with the parents, I think that's pivotal in all of this, because that's where kind of you get the stability and the support, and you're constantly checking in to make sure the things that you're doing are okay, right? So parents are assured, and also the gappers, right? They are also assured about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think communication is huge, in making sure that everybody's on the same page.
Right.
When I was working in risk management, we always said no surprises. I don't want any surprises to happen. I want to know if something's not going well. Tell me, and we can navigate and work it through together. So I think that communication back and forth, and I really like what you said about relationships as well. This transition from adolescence into early adulthood can be a very difficult transition, because we're going from child and parents to three adults, and that is really difficult to navigate. And the more that you can communicate, the more that the young person can demonstrate responsibility and showcase the mature traits, the more that the parents can trust them. And I think that's how we see that smooth transition happening, when we're allowing our young people to take bite-sized risks and demonstrate to us that they are ready for that transition. And I think you guys did that so well. And I can see in your relationship that that is something that has gone quite smoothly, not without bumps, but quite smoothly, and will lead to a great relationship throughout the rest of Pranav's adult life as well.
Right.
Thank
you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. It has been so wonderful for you to share your wonderful stories with all of our listeners. And we will definitely have you back for some of our parent events in the future, so you can share a little bit more of your story with us. And Pranav, I am going to be following along closely with all of your studies and your summer jobs and all of the other adventures you get onto, because it's been such a pleasure to work with your family.